Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec, back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we are going to go over this room in TryHackMe, Intro to Containerization, learn about the technologies and benefits of containerization. Now, this is a part of this module here, Container Security. Learn how containerization works, its benefits, potential vulnerabilities, and the steps necessary to secure your container. Containerization technologies such as Docker are popular for developing and deploying applications. In this module, you will learn how Docker works, some common vulnerabilities, and various measures that can be taken to secure your container from attack. All right, so this is the first room, Intro to Containerization. Next one is Intro to Docker. So I got a little ahead of myself here, and this one's already uploaded, so go ahead and check that out. We have Intro to Kubernetes and container vulnerabilities, and also this container hardening. So we're gonna go through all these modules here. Now, you may be watching these videos separately or all together in one whole video. Either or, you'll get the same material. So let's flip back over here to our Intro to Containerization. Take a look here. Learning outcomes. By completing this room, you will know what containerization is and what containers are, where and why containerization is used, a fundamental understanding of the popular containerization technology called Docker, what makes Docker so popular, how containerization works. With that said, complete the question below and progress on to the next task. So we are done with this, but before we get ahead of ourselves, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you want to help support the channel. Without further delay, let's go ahead and dive into it. Task 2. What is containerization? In computing terms, containerization is the process of packaging an application and the necessary resources, such as libraries and packages, required into one package named a container. The process of packaging applications together makes applications considerably portable and hassle-free to run. Modern applications are often complex and usually depend on frameworks and libraries being installed on a device before the application can run. These dependencies can be difficult to install depending on the environment that application is running. Some operating systems might not even support them. Create difficulty for developers to diagnose and replicate faults, as it could be a problem with the application's environment, not the application itself. Can often conflict with each other. For example, having multiple versions of Python to run different applications is a headache for the user, and an application may work with one version of Python and not another. Containerization platforms remove this headache by packaging the dependencies together and isolating. Note, this is not to be confused with security isolation in this context, the application's environment, okay? If the device supports the containerization engine, a user will be able to run the application and have the same behavior. So here's a diagram here, a diagram demonstrating 3 containers on a single computer. So you have container 1, 2, and 3, application 1, environment, and it's the same across the board here. You have the Docker engine, you have the computer operating system, the host, and you have the physical computer there. In the screenshot above, we can see how 3 applications and their environments, such as dependencies, are packaged together and do not directly interact with the physical computer, but rather the containerization engine. In this case, it is Docker. We will come on to discuss precisely how containers isolate from one another, but for now, it's important to understand that the isolation is a core feature of containers. However, it is worth noting that containerization platforms make use of the namespace feature of the kernel, which is a feature used so that processes can access resources of the operating system without being able to interact with other processes. The isolation offered by namespaces adds a benefit of security because it means that if an application in the container is compromised, usually other containers are unaffected here, and it says unless they share the same namespace. Okay, so take that into consideration there. Alternatives such as virtual machines will require a whole operating system being installed to run the application, taking up large amounts of disk space and other computing resources such as CPU and RAM. And that's absolutely true. Okay, we have a couple questions here. Let's see here. What is the name of the kernel feature that allows for processes to use resources of the operating system without being able to interact with other processes? And this is going to be namespace, as we can see up here. Platforms make use of the namespace feature of the kernel. Next one, in a normal configuration, can other containers interact with each other? Well, that's going to be no, because you can see that they are isolated from each other, right? Let's go ahead and continue on here. Task number 3, introducing Docker. I'll promise I'll try to keep the sales pitch relatively short. Docker is a relatively hassle-free, extensive, and open source containerization platform. The Docker ecosystem allows applications, images will come into this in the later room, to be deployed, managed, and shared with ease. Working on Linux, Windows, and Mac OS, Docker is a smart choice for running applications. Applications can be published as images and shared with others. All that is required is pulling or downloading the image and running it with Docker. Docker employs the same technology used in containerization to isolate applications into containers called the Docker engine. The Docker engine is essentially an API that runs on the host operating system, which communicates between the operating system and containers to access the system's hardware, such as CPU, RAM, networking, and disk. Because of this, Docker engine is extensive and allows you to do things like, number one, connect containers together. For example, a container running a web application and another container using a database. Number two, export and import applications images. Three, transfer files between the operating system and container. Docker uses the programming syntax YAML to allow developers to instruct how a container should be built and what is run. This is a significant reason why Docker is so portable and easy to debug. Share the instructions and it will build and run the same on any device that supports the Docker engine suite. The Docker engine allows containers to be orchestrated, meaning that multiple containers can be built as part of a group, allowing containers to communicate with each other. For example, one container running a web server and another container running a database can communicate. We will come onto this feature in a later room. We have some questions here. What does an application become when it's published using Docker? And it has X's here. Fill in the X's. Okay. So that should be, I think it's an image for this one. What is the abbreviation of the programming syntax language that Docker uses? And that's YAML. I think that stands for yet another markup language, if I'm not mistaken. Task number 4, the history of Docker. Originally created by Solomon Hykes in 2013, Docker is an open source and has become a well-renowned name within containerization. Docker started as an internal project for .cloud, a PaaS provider, where it was then showcased in PyCon in 2013 and then quickly made open source. While containerization's original concept started in 1979 with Unix v7, Docker has made containerization a popular technology since its release in 2013. Docker's popularity is due to making the benefits of containerization accessible and modern. As of April 2022, it is fair to say that Docker is extremely popular, to be precise. 13 million developers are using Docker. There are 7 million applications made and ready to use with Docker. 13 billion applications are downloaded monthly, and this is just from the official repository. So there's dockerhub.com, there's docker.com if you want to check out those sources there. Okay, we have some questions here. And what year was Docker originally created? Well, that's going to be 2013 because they did it at PyCon, right? Where was Docker first showcased? And that's going to be PyCon, as I just said. Okay. What version of Unix had the first concepts of containerization? That's going to be version 7. So V7 for this one here. Okay. Next one, task number 5, the benefits and features of Docker. If it hasn't been said enough, here is another attempt. Docker is an agile, convenient, and extensive means of deploying an application. Let's explore this in detail in the headings below. Docker is free. The Docker ecosystem is free to use and open source. While business plans exist, you can completely download, use, create, run, and share images. Docker is compatible. The Docker platform is compatible with Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. Because of how containerization works, if a device supports the Docker engine, you can run any container regardless of the application or dependencies. Docker is efficient and minimal. Docker is an efficient way to isolate applications in comparison to alternatives such as virtual machines. This is because the Docker engine runs and interacts with the host operating system, and the containers do not run a fully fledged operating system for each container. For example, containers can share a minimal operating system image, meaning you only need to store it once. A minimal Ubuntu image is 100 megabytes, which can be stored once and used multiple times. Compare this to the Ubuntu server image, about 1 gigabyte after a fresh install per VM. So here's an example here, inspecting the size of the Ubuntu Docker image. So they did Docker image ls to list those out here. You have Ubuntu tag latest, there's image ID created 4 weeks ago, and then there's the size of it. Docker is easy to get started with. The Docker developer documentation is very well documented with lots of articles, working examples, and answers questions on the internet. The chances are, if you want to do something in Docker, someone has already asked about it or done it. The syntax to get started with Docker is easy to pick up. You can start your first container in no time. The fact that there are Docker images for all sorts of applications already published helps. Docker is easy to share with others. A significant benefit of Docker is its portability. Docker uses images to store instructions to dictate how the container should be built, just an instruction manual. These images can be exported, shared, and uploaded to both public and private repositories such as Docker Hub and GitHub. The image can be run by anything that supports the Docker image or engine as long as the syntax is valid. Docker is minimal. These Docker images discussed above are minimal. You will often find many core and luxurious tools and packages in a container that are missing. While this can look like a disadvantage, it is in fact allows containers to be built exactly how the developer wishes. Better security, knowing exactly what runs within a container, can reduce the risk of unnecessary packages becoming vulnerable and posing a security risk. Docker is cheaper to run. Running containers is usually a cheaper option than running virtual machines. This is especially noticeable in cloud environments where CPU, RAM, and disk space are expensive. For example, you can quite happily run a few containers on a single $5 cloud provider VPS, whereas you will not be able to run a virtual machine. This is due to the fact that running virtual machines requires hardware that supports virtualization, which is only found on costly tiers of a cloud provider, if at all. Virtual machines require lots of memory and disk space as you are running a separate operating system on top of the physical machine. So README, we read through everything here. Now we can see what Docker has to offer, some of the capabilities, and how it can benefit you. Task number 6, how does containerization work? Namespaces essentially segregate system resources such as processes, files, and memory away from other namespaces. Every process running on Linux will be assigned two things: a namespace, a process identifier, which is the PID. Namespaces are how containerization is achieved. Processes can only see other processes that are in the same namespace. No conflicts in theory. Take Docker, for example. Every new container will be running as a new namespace, although the container may be running multiple applications and in turn processes. Let's prove the concept of containerization by comparing the number of processes there are in a Docker container that is running a web server versus the host operating system at the time here. So you want to take a look at the screenshot real quick and you can examine what they're talking about here. So we got Docker build up here, talking about opt Google Chrome stuff over here. Okay, good to know there. Put simply, the process with an ID of 0 is the process that is started when the system boots. Process numbers increment and must be started by another process, so naturally the next process ID will be number 1. This process is the system in it. For example, the latest versions of Ubuntu use systemd. Any other process that runs will be controlled by systemd, process number 1. We can use the process number 1's namespace on an operating system to escalate our privileges. Whilst containers are designed to use these namespaces to isolate from each other, they can instead coincide with the host computer's processes. This gives us a nice opportunity to escape. That's interesting there. Okay. What command can we use to view a list of running processes? Okay, and we already have it there, the PS and then AUX for that. All right, so we should be good to go there. Now we're going to get into the practical side of things with task number 7 here. Deploy the static site attached to this task. Containerize the applications to reveal the flag. Containerize the application in the static site. What is the flag? So view site here. And now let's go ahead and try this. Go ahead and try this yourself and then come back to the video and then we will step through it together. Good luck. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos. You can see here over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. All right, let's take a look here. Now, we just have to put this in order, it looks like. Assemble the layers of the container to retrieve the flag. And we discussed this in one of these task here. So if we just go ahead and locate that, maybe it was the first one. Let's see here. Nope, not that one. I think we already checked this here. There we go. So we're just going to follow this diagram basically. So physical machine's already there, and now we need the computer operating system, which is the host. So let's do this here, physical OS, and then we have the container engine, and then on top of that we have the container OS, I guess, and then application. There we go. So now we're done. Easy peasy. So hopefully y'all have learned something in here about these containers and whatnot. I've used Docker before, but not extensively like a developer would use. I've set up images before in like a lab environment and whatnot. You'll probably come across this as well throughout your career as you're doing these labs. But we are pretty much done here. Okay, and remember to check out the next video, which is going to be Intro to Docker. So check that out. It should already be uploaded to the channel. But anyway, let's go ahead and close out this video and wrap it up. Okay, we're done. If you want to help support the channel, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload to the channel. As always, thank you all for taking the time to watch my video. I appreciate y'all's continued support. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next one. Happy hacking and happy defending.